Hello everyone, today we are going to build the MiG-27 by Academy in 1/72 scale. Davai! The box was actually filled with quite a bit of goodies. There seemed to be quite a few parts for what I thought was going to be a much more simple build. The cockpit seat and cockpit area was pretty disappointing. Very low detail, and it actually took quite a bit of work to try to get that seat there so that I could glue it in, just because there wasn't a very good system of keeping it in place. All the pieces of the nacelle though seemed to fit together nicely, and it wasn't too much trouble getting them together once I decided to finally do it. The instrument panel is nothing more than a decal, and a frustrating one at that. You can see me struggling with it here. I actually used some extra thin glue to tack down the edges. You can see the pilot's head is far too big, but oh well. I decided the interior of the cockpit was way too plain, so I added in just painted on panels to see if I could create some more interest, although you and I are probably the only ones who will ever see it. Since I had the red on my paintbrush already, I decided to go ahead and give the pilot's helmet a nice little speed racer flare. The cockpit assembly did fit together fairly well, although there were some nasty little gaps and seam lines that needed to be taken care of later on. The best part of building a variable sweep wing aircraft is you get to play with the variable sweep wings. you can see that the gap was pretty significant between the cockpit nacelle and the main fuselage. It took some finagling to actually get that to work properly. The intake ducts have this weird clear part. I'm not sure if those are supposed to be cameras, or if the ground crews just wanted to be able to see if anything was caught inside the intake. Maybe Yuri left his bottle of vodka in there. There's this odd underside rear stabilizer. I'll learn later that if you want to have the landing gear down, it ought to be in the folded position. I didn't pay attention to the directions very well, I suppose. There was quite a bit of puttying that needed to be done. Some of the gaps were fairly large, although not too significant, but mostly there were seam lines, unsightly joins, and that sort of thing. I really like to use the blue poster tack to get a nice effect with the camouflage patterns. When you use the airbrush, it creates the sort of misty, cloudy kind of border between the colors, but it's not too sudden and it's not too pronounced. There's always something else that needs to be masked. It isn't shown in the instructions, but in the box art, there's these interesting brown streaks in the camouflage that I think adds a little bit of interest. I think I spent more time masking and unmasking than I did actually painting. The landing gear was actually very well detailed, and I thought it came together pretty easily. Here I am doing things the hard way. And here I am finally wising up and using a toothpick. See how much easier this is? The landing gear doors did give me a little bit of trouble. There's nothing to keep them in place, so you have to be very careful when you do glue them. The rocket pods were pretty frustrating. There was nothing to hold the two halves together, and so you had to very, very carefully try to get them to fit. To be honest, I really ought to have used the airbrush for white. Brush painting with white is a pain in the neck. Finally, the main attraction, the Gauchos 630. It was such a beautiful and interesting cannon, and of course is superior to American one. After gluing on this wing tank, I realized I really probably ought to work from the inside out. As you can see, the centerline tank gave me quite a bit of trouble with the fit. I tried dry brushing on some burnt iron enamel cover, but I didn't like the effect very much. So later on I went ahead and used my old favorite, just the oil covers, to give the smoke patterns. So, there it is. Kind of a basic sort of job there, but that's that. I think it turned out kind of nice, and yeah, it's fun to use the old airbrush again. There's a couple of things I should say. One, don't let the brand new box fool you, because it's got kind of a newish looking box. This is an old kit. It's got the bad decals. They weren't actually as awful as I was thinking they were going to be, but they're still pretty darn bad. And there are ways to deal with that, but I don't know. I don't have any of like the hypersol and that kind of business, so alas. But anyway, it's not a bad one. One thing I would also say is, because it's the Crocodile Gena, here I'll put it against my giant forehead, there's not a whole lot of room in the nose, but if I were to do this again, I would put some weights in the nose, because it doesn't call for any, but it is balanced so that it'll actually like handle it, but it's barely like it wants to, do that all the time. So yeah, be careful. And then the other thing is too, I didn't actually want it to be with the wings way out like that, but if you're going to have those fuel things on there, you have to. And I didn't peel off the little things for the the little fuel deals. So alas, it has to be like that. But anyway, all in all, not a bad kit. You know, it's your basic Academy. It's less than $10, so it's a fun build. Kind of probably better for like a toy than you know. It's not going to be a prize winner or anything like that. I mean, you can see how bad the decals are right there. Lift it up there. Anyway, so yeah, but all in all, fun build. Not bad. I like it. We're going to go with it.